Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rosano, and this is another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I would just call the show Online Marketing Moves, and we are coming to you live today. Ladies and gentlemen, how was your weekend? Now, yesterday I was supposed to do a show, but I'll tell you what. Yesterday, for some reason, my lovely wife, who I love so much, decided to stop up the garbage disposal. And we had a clogged garbage disposal, which caused the sink to be stopped up and the pipe to start leaking. So, yesterday I had to deal with that. But, that is part of today's show. And the reason why I say that is because, like you people, I've never worked on a garbage disposal before. I never had to take one apart, figure out the situation, put it back together. Because I told my wife, I said, every time something happens, I'm not paying somebody, you know? I said, I could just do it myself. Now, eventually, when I'm in my 50s, I'm just gonna pay somebody because it's not worth the time, honestly. But yesterday I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself, just to see if I can do it, you know. And that's a part of today's show. And I thought to myself, you know, how hard can this be? How hard is putting together back a garbage disposal, figuring out the problem, solving the problem, and moving on about your business, you know? And it took a little while. I'll be honest. I got a little frustrated, got a little annoyed, but eventually last night it was easy to take it apart. The hard part was trying to put it back together, trying to figure that part out. But eventually I got it together. Got the pipe back, garbage disposal back together, you know, hooked it up, tightened it up, you know, ran the water, checked the pipe wasn't leaking. It was a success. Took a little while, but it was a success. And the reason why I'm telling you this today is because sometimes when you coming from, and a lot of people are this way. You try something new, and you don't get it right within the first 5 minutes. That's a lot of society today. I hope this is not you, but a lot of times we just stick to what we know. We stick to things that we've done before. We stick to the old stuff, you know. And sometimes when you want to run a business, you know, like you want to do something you never done before, like write or, you know, become a big time YouTuber, you know. A lot of you probably never been in front of a camera that much. A lot of you never written a whole lot of stuff. But the point I'm telling you is, it does not matter where you come from. It does not matter how you get started. You can figure things out. You can be motivated, and if you have a lot of determination. Because I will tell you this: last night I was getting pretty. First I was getting hungry. Once I get hungry, I get pretty distracted. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to order a pizza, going to eat my pizza, and I'm going to get back to it. I had already taken it apart. I'd already cleaned out the pipe and all that kind of stuff. You know, I just had to put the garbage disposal back together, you know. It was frustrating because I thought it was one way you had to do it, but it was a totally different way. So I was off on that. But once I ate my pizza, once I sat there for a little bit, I got it together. And it's the same as doing this stuff, you know. A couple years ago, about 3 years ago, I had the bright idea of doing a podcast. I remember November 2019, I did my first episode. I was in the back of a big rig. I had bought me a microphone. I remember this, and It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was tired and I was sleepy. And I said, you know what? I said, because I kept telling myself I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then I finally said, you know, I said, the hell with it. When are we going to get started, you know? And I recorded it. It was what it was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. But we got started, and then we stopped. And we stopped for a while. We stopped during the... I did it for like about 2 weeks. A lot of those episodes you'll never hear. You'll never hear, you know. But I did it. I stopped it, and then for December came around. I did a few episodes. January came, did a couple episodes, and by February, March, I wasn't doing anything. I was not recording. I was not writing. I took 6 months off, and that was during the pandemic. I was doing a lot of driving. I was doing a lot of driving. I remember that, and I just took a break, and I told myself, I said, all right, when are we going to get serious and when are we going to get started? And, after that, I come back in the summer of July, January, August, something like that, 2020, and I haven't stopped podcasting since. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because things seem impossible sometimes. You'll do things that you've never done before. Like, I'll give you another example. I have a pool in the back of my house. Me and my wife, we bought the house. There was a pool back there. I never dealt with the pool. I can't even swim, to be honest with me. And I thought, what the hell are we going to do with this? And my wife was like, we got a pool. We're going to blah, 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 blah. And it's been 5 years, and there's been a lot of mistakes I made when it comes to trying to, work the pool and, do the balance, make the water blue, blah, 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 blah. But I finally learned how to do the pool. I finally got it figured out, and it's pretty nice. It's the same as that stupid garbage disposal yesterday. There's nothing that we can't do if we put our mind to it. There's nothing that can stop us if we put our mind to it. One of the best stories I listen to every now and then is Steve Harvey. He talks about this story about how he was, living in this car, and down in Florida, he didn't have any money. He was thinking about quitting, and he called because the hardest part of any adventure is to keep going, because sometimes you'll do videos. Let's say you do a YouTube channel. You do videos, you'll get a few views one day. Next day you might get no views. The next day you might get no views. And you go through these lulls, you go through these lulls, and you're like, who is listening to this, And you get frustrated. You want to quit. It'll happen to you. Trust me. And it was one time when I was doing a podcast. Things were like, it was like one listen, 0 listens, 1 listen, 2 listens. It's very inconsistent. It's like, come on, man, what the I've uploaded some episodes, and 24 hours later, I'm like, damn, nobody listened. And it's like, you're looking for instant gratification, but it don't always happen like that, And sometimes, you'll get the days where you get bunch of downloads. But anyway, the Steve Harvey thing, he was about to quit, and then he got an offer to do this comedy show in New York. And then he said he didn't have any money. And he said he got a couple gigs in Florida to help fund his trip to New York. And he said it went well. And then he said after that, he sort of took off after that. There's always a point of when hey man, I can do this. You might not see it, but it definitely is a point to where you have to realize, like, hey, I can do this. Like, nothing can stop me but me, for me, I'll tell you what that point was. When I got over 5,000 downloads, because at first, I just thought, at first I'm like, is this even working? But the more people downloaded it, I got a few phone calls, I got a couple of messages, and people were like, man, I love the podcast, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay. And they were not friends and family, so that was one of my goals. I didn't want friends, because friends and family, of course, they could be like, oh yeah, I support you because it's free, like the podcast is free, but I don't want that kind of support. At the end of the day, you want paying customers. You want people who's gonna follow you from the podcast to your email list to other different things, and but there's always a point where you're like, okay, I can do this. I give you another example. When I was a young truck driver, and they sent me to New York City, and if you ever been in New York City, that can be an intimidating place. And they gave me some bad directions, and I ended up on Flatbush Avenue in my truck. And I remember I looked down at my hand, and my hand wasn't shaking, because before you get nervous, and sometimes you might tremble a little bit. But I looked down at my hand, it was no shaking, no nothing, and I said, you know what, man, I got this, And we got off Flatbush Avenue, we got on the Parkway. The cop stopped me, yelled at me, he told me which way to go to the airport. I got to the airport, delivered my load, and after that, I knew, hey man, I can do this driving stuff, no problem. And it's the same as with this podcast, and it's the same as everything else. And yesterday, I was like, the garbage disposal was hard, but it got me to thinking, like, okay, man, I can do anything, Like, it just helps you sometimes. It helps you reiterate, and you have to keep reminding yourself, because nobody's gonna listen. At the end of the day, nobody wants this more than you. Nobody wants success more than you. Let's be honest with each other. Your significant other, they love you for you. They like you. They care about you. It doesn't matter if you're successful and you're running your own business or not. They're still gonna love you. Your family's still gonna love you. Your friends are still gonna love you. Everybody's still gonna love you. So that part, it's like, what are you doing this for? Let's be honest with each other. People are always like, I don't want to do this for my family, this, that, and the other. Your family's gonna love you no matter what. I have cousins that they do absolutely nothing. I still love them. That stuff don't matter. Look in the mirror sometimes. Why do you want this? Why do you want this? And then don't quit. It's you. It's the mirror. It's, hey man, let's go. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sometimes it's just a point of, let's effing do this. Yesterday I was down on the floor. My wife was pissing me off. I love her, but she was pissing me off yesterday because she was like, you smell like garbage. And I was like, you're the reason I smell like garbage right now, sister, okay? I'm doing this in garbage disposal for you, and you're being annoying. But anyway, I was sitting there, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let no garbage disposal defeat me. I said, this is stupid. I said, I'm pretty smart. I know how to figure this. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to figure this out right now. And I said a few choice words to myself, and I said, come on, man, let's get it together. Bleepity bleep bleep. What the bleepity bleep bleep is going on? Blah, 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 blah. And I got in there, I got it done, and, I moved on. And so it's like, the only person that's going to stop you is you. The only person that's in the way is you. You are your biggest. You should be your biggest fan, and you're also going to be your biggest detractor. It's just up to you what you want to do. And the main thing is, As I tell anybody, if you quit, how are you gonna know? Don't ever quit. You might, hell, it might be 2 years later, but come back to it. If you really believe in the thing that you want to do, you know, it does not matter though. It does not matter the road you take. The road you take could be curvy, could be hilly, could be full of ups and downs, side to side. You might go 100 miles that way to come back this way. But the point is, never stop believing. Okay? There's always room to make it. And you can make it. And you will make it. It might not be as fast as you want it to be. Might not be as smooth as you want it to be. But it's out there. It's up to you. It's like, what are you going to do, I didn't let the garbage disposal defeat me yesterday. I kicked his ass. And I suggest the same for you, And, let's go, sometimes you just need a swift kick, And if you never watched that silly Steve Harvey, it's like 10 minutes, Just watch it, and it's very motivating. There's a lot of different motivating stories like that in the world, Like you listen to Sylvester Stallone. I watched all those Rocky movies. He talked about how broke he was, how he had to sell his dog and all this kind of stuff to get busy, But once he got busy, he He won an Oscar for that movie, and there's all types of things, all types of people, not just famous people, but people in your everyday life that probably, started from, God knows where and became successful, And just because you don't know how to do something, don't mean you can't accomplish your goals, Nobody's born a natural salesman, you know what I mean? Like, just because you might not have sold anything in your life, but that don't mean you can't start now, Just because you haven't wrote books like Stephen King, don't mean you can't become a writer, Just because you've never been on TV like John Wayne, don't mean you can't become a personality, a YouTube personality, There's all types of things you can accomplish when it comes to business, when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Just because you've never been an entrepreneur before, don't mean you can't become one now, So don't let I've never done this before in my life stop you, Don't let and never use the word I can't, Don't never use the word can't, I think about my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has multiple sclerosis, She has MS. And she's fought a hell of a battle, for the last, I've known the woman 12 years. And 12 years, she's been sort of bedridden. But she's always fought the good fight, And today she told us something. She told me and my wife, she said her time is near, And it made me think. It made me think about life. And it made me think about, like, why stop your dream, Like, this woman, God bless, you know what I mean? She said she don't want to go to the hospital no more, because the last few months she's been in and out of the hospital, and it's been hard. It's been hard on me. It's been hard on the wife. It's been hard on my mother-in-law. It's but we're family, so we stick together, And today she said, I fought all the battles I could fight, I'm ready. She said, whatever happens, And it made me think, It's like, why am I gonna stop? Why would I stop running, being an entrepreneur and becoming a top notch copywriter in the grand scheme of things is feeble compared to like a woman fighting a multiple sclerosis, And she ain't never gave up. So why should I give up? And why should you give up? And this woman can fight this disease for the last 20, 30 years, And there's a lot of people fighting diseases. There's a lot of people fighting different things, It's like, if you think about kids that have like 10 surgeries, and all this kind of stuff, And it's like, never give up, Never, like, why stop, Like, why do that? If you look at it in the grand scheme of things, your problems and my problems are probably like minuscule compared to other people, And that's just my opinion. But anyway, ladies and gents, that's it. That's all I got. Don't quit. Don't let garbage disposals. Don't let the internet. Don't let anything defeat you. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow for all new episodes of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. And as always, everybody, peace.